Hi, guys. Welcome back to another edition of Chats from the Blog Cabin. Today, I'm very honored to have father-daughter writing team, Dr. Bruce Ewing and Vernae Ewing Thompson. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much. We're so glad to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited.
So tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Well, first of all, I am a pastor, and I was a military chaplain for 28 years in the United States Air Force. I've been in ministry for about 48 years and married to a wonderful woman, Valerie Ewing, for 47 years. I'm the director of one of the educational director of Eagle Creek Recovery Center and the marriage and family relationships consultant for my church.
Wow.
And Vernae?
Well, where do I start, Dad? I guess you could say that I went on ahead and finished college. I got my BS in marketing, and then I went on and got my MBA. And doing that, I also went on and did acting and did some modeling and started producing different projects with my husband, music videos, and just a whole lot of things. And one thing I wanted to tell you a little bit about us is just how we got to start the book. Dad, did you want to tell them a little bit about how you started?
Yeah, actually, some time ago, about the book, about writing, period, I was not a very good student in the way of having what you would call, some people call ADD. And so my attention span was very, very minute. So what happened is that one of our teachers and guidance directors said, "Hey, you can learn, so we're going to bring you in." So she brought me in their office and started me out on adventure books. And so every day I read with her. She read to me, had me to write out papers and things or what I thought it should be. So she got me hooked on adventure books, and it increased my ability to read and also gave me a great love for books. So along the way, I've been reading ever since and have been thrilled by and intrigued by almost any kind of book, but mostly adventure books, and kind of drew my daughter into it. I used to read to her and her sister.
All the time. He would make up stories. He would read Bible stories to us. It was fantastic. And that kind of got me into starting to write my own little stories as a hobby, because sometimes when I would read a book or watch a movie, I was like, man, I wish the ending was just a little bit different. I would have done it this way. So I just decided to just create a story of my own that I would enjoy, and I would get the ending that I really wanted.
Okay. So we're back. The internet connection kind of got a little crazy there for a minute, so hopefully it'll stay. Of all days, right?
That's all right.
Yeah, well, I don't know where it cut off, but I was just saying that the way that I kind of got into writing was I contributed a lot to my dad reading to us when we were small, my sister and I just truly enjoyed it and decided to start writing as a hobby. And some of that was based on me maybe not wanting the story to end differently if it was a movie or a book. And I said, well, man, I wish it ended this way or that way. So I said, I'll just start writing my own stuff, and then I could just have the perfect ending that I wanted for it. So that's kind of how we just came about, both of us writing. And then Dad, he was so awesome. He actually had the idea of the treasure tree. And then he said, I think Vernae would be awesome to be a part of it. And so he just asked me to be along. And
he had a very good mind for details, and I like that. And she critically processes everything. So when I go and I do a book or something, hand it over to her, it's kind of like she just shuffles it around and put it into order. I build the skeleton and all the foundation, and Vernae comes and put the meat and everything else in it. So we work together very well in writing our books. So we're thankful to God for that.
Yeah, honestly, like I told you before we came on, I'm already in love with the book. I've already finished The Treasure Tree, and I was like, oh, I have to do Coming Home. And then I'm like halfway through, and I'm like, oh, I wanted to finish it before I came on and chatted with you. But I mean, the imagery in it and the creatures and the creation that you did it's amazing. It's just beyond. So where did you come up with the idea for this?
Well, actually, believe it or not, a lot of this stuff is in the Bible. No. And all kind of creatures from Revelations to Ezekiel to Daniel, you'll find some of that stuff in there. And then God gave me this wild imagination to just put things, add to, how we embellish things. So the book is fiction and there's a lot of embellishing. So that wild imagination just take root and from one thing to another. And then Vernae added her, so that really increased it. So
we always had big imaginations too. I mean,
yeah.
Probus and that. Well, we don't want to tell all the story. I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard not to go into detail about the story. But yeah, we wanted the story to be adventurous and romantic and something that was entertaining. We wanted to have a lot of moral fiber in the book. We wanted it to be where anyone could read the book. But we wanted it to be thought-provoking. The plot is amazing. And the message comes through, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah. To edify, build up, and encourage people. People are looking for something that they can put their hands into, their minds to, something to sustain them through hard times. And so we wanted to kind of give them an outlet for that. And so there are a lot of good ideas and a lot of things that people can grab hold of to enhance their family situation in the way of growth, in the way of communicating with one another. You can sit down and read this book with your family and get all kinds of good ideas about, hey, what do we do next? And of course, one of the main characters, Matt Loebman, he's a great guy, very naive in some areas, gets the idea from his mom and from the community. We're in dire trouble. We need some help. And so she tells Matt basically what's going on. And as a sage, way over someplace that could be very helpful. So Matt sets out on a journey with his friend and buddy Jackson, who happens to just be there while Matt was leaving. And so they both go and find this wonderful sage who enlightens them and finds out that they want something from him. And he says, oh, so you want something, but is there anything that you have in return? Of course, they didn't. They were empty-handed. But he was gracious to them because the journey showed that they wanted to find something. And so Matt walks into his destiny. And so you learn about friendship, you learned about betrayal, you learned about how people are really self-centered, and you also learn how people are very giving. Mm-hmm. So the book covers a wide span of emotions and principles that people can live by.
The first book that you read, Melissa, The Treasure Tree, that's the introduction to a 5-book series that we're currently writing. And so what Dad was talking about with Matt on the quest, his destiny, that's the first book, The Treasure Tree, and then Coming Home is kind of a continuation of Matt's journey and his new bride, and just a multitude of new characters that we introduced in the second book. And there's a lot of twists and turns and oh no, you didn't moments in there. So we're so excited about it. It took us about a year to do the first book, Treasure Tree, and then the second book took us about 3 years to do the second book. Yeah, I know. The second book it's about 400 pages. Yeah, and the first book is about a little over 100. So, yeah. We wanted to have that first book, introduction to this new world that we're putting out there.
Just to grab people by the throat and hold them there. Okay, so that's kind of it. And people have really been very gracious to us and telling us how they enjoyed the book. I said, don't lie to us, really tell us the truth. Do you really like it? And like a couple of friends of mine who are motorcycle guys, I said, hey guys, how about reading the book? They said, we don't read books. I said, well, read this one anyhow and tell me what you think. So they took it and they read it and came back and said, wow, man, that's really great. So when's the next one coming out? So it was about, like Vernae was saying, it's about 3 years for us completing the Coming Home book of the series. And when people read it, they really thoroughly enjoy it. And then one of our readers said, okay, now that I finished the book, am I going to have to wait 6 years,
No,
6 years for the next book?
No.
And the answer is no, because we're working hard on the whole series right now. So in hopes that people will really take to it and enjoy it. We think that they're going to like what they see.
So how many books are you planning in the series?
I'm sorry?
How many books are you planning in the series?
5.
5? Wow.
Yes, 5.
So how is it working with each other? I mean, father-daughter, you have that type of relationship. You're probably sometimes, okay, I wanted to go this way, but no, you wanted to go this way. So how do you work together without being like at each other's throats, of course, because it's something you really want to fight for to keep in the book?
Prayer, lots of prayer.
Well, Dad, he's like he's one of my best friends. So that's number one. And Dad, yes, prayer. I mean, it's just kind of, you have to compromise. Some ideas I have and some ideas he has. We actually have to sit down and say, okay, does this fit the storyline? And if it doesn't, a lot of times now what we do is we'll take that idea and kind of put it to the side because, we have more books that we're writing. So maybe that idea could go in the next book that we do. So we just our goal is to make the product the best that it can be. So if his idea is better and it's cohesive with the storyline, why not, right? And the same think for, my ideas.
She says that because I think she wrote something. It was really good, but I didn't think it was really catching in there. So I deleted it. And then she said, hey, Dad, where's that part? I said, oh, honey, I'm sorry. I got rid of it. She said, you what? Oh, no. And so from then on.
We save everything and we put it in another story. Yeah, we put it aside because you just never know.
Lessons learned. So, but she's really good at that. And I love it because Vernae does backstories. Tell her what backstories things about.
Well, I guess just whenever you create a script or a book, anything that you do that's creative, you want to have some sort of depth to it. Why is the character acting this way? Why is the character upset or sad or whatever? And so as an author, you got to find out, okay, what's the backstory on that? And it may not be exactly present in the book at that moment, but, the reader's kind of getting the gist of that feeling that the character may have. And then down the road, you present it in the book, in the storyline. And so we just wanted to have depth, in the book. And I would want to write, if I'm writing a book, I would want to be able just to, at my leisure, read the book. Like, okay, I think this is something that I would like to read. And so that's kind of,
She's good. She takes each of the characters and she looks at them and says, okay, what would Matt really look like? How do I want to picture him? Or how do I want to picture Patience, his bride? And we go through each of the characters like that. Some characters are very vicious. And some characters are very nice and polite. And there's some
manipulative, very manipulative, So
it's a combination of where we are at the time. And I like the way that she does it. And so when she does that, then I have an opportunity to go back and to look at each of those backstories, and I can add a lot to it. My wife says I can write all day, but I need to be organized. So that's where Vernae comes in. And we've had to shift around complete chapters at times, put one chapter in one place and one in another.
And then even adding some details that may be, missing in a particular area. So, but it's like when you start working with someone, anything that you do, you have to build yourself as a team to work together. And like we said earlier, you just gotta compromise,
And nothing is
be
sacred.
gracious. Be gracious, yes.
Nothing's sacred. I mean, if you are writing something and you really don't want it to change, you can't really work together with the person. You have to be willing to hear the whole thing of what people are talking about and say, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's move it and do it this way. But if you're a stickler for, hey, I want my stuff, then it's not going to come out very well. So,
and the whole goal is to make sure that the audience is enjoying it. Make sure that Melissa, you're enjoying the book. I mean, that's the whole idea. Is we wanted to bring life to the stories for people to enjoy.
So, how do you guys write together?
well, what I do is that, again, I write out a whole script, basically the way that I see things. It's neat how God just put things in my mind. Sometimes 2:00 in the morning, I get up and just go in and sit at the computer and write down what's given, and then present it to Vernae, and she adds her insights and wisdom to it, and it just really comes out. Of course, I do pray a lot because we want people to get a good understanding, and we want them to get some wisdom, and we don't want to confuse anyone, but we want to know that we hold true to real truth, even though it's a fiction book. We try and make sure that true understanding and love and compassion and those things are real. Also, how do you deal with problems? How do you deal with problems? And so all of that is in there. And
yeah, I mean, because when you deal with problems, everyone has a choice. You can either go with it in a positive way or a negative way, and so those are presented in the books as well.
At the end of the book, if I'm not mistaken, don't you have devotionals or something like that for people to take it to the next level?
Devotionals.
Devotionals, yeah.
Yeah.
We try and add something in the way of inspiring people. You can take out of these books and really, after some people have book clubs and they just purchase the book and everybody reads their book and then they come and just talk about what they read and the characters in there. And it has, from our perspective, there's a lot of biblical truth that's in it because after all, I am a pastor. So we put a lot of biblical truth in that, and people can learn from that and apply it to their own lives. We've had 8-year-olds to read our books, and they are just thrilled by it. So from 8 to 80, blind, crippled, and crazy, whatever. I mean, everybody can enjoy it, if they read it. So we've been thrilled that younger people, older people, anyone who picks it up, after about 3 or 4 pages, they'll read the rest of it.
We've had people say, "Man, I just started and I couldn't put the book down. I had to continue to read it. I could not stop until I was done." So, yeah, so that's such a great feeling that people tell us those things.
Yeah, the very first book I could not put down at all. I mean, I literally could not put it down. I read it, I think, all the way through. But it's so funny that you said 8 to 80 because my dad, he was a Marine who died in 2014 or 2015 due to exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam. But he was also a police officer, and my mom used to say that his girlfriends were under 8 and over 80. So when you said 8 to 80, that just kind of resonated with me.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah.
So how is your, Dr. Bruce, I'm talking to you now. How was your military experience like right now, I'm in the part of the book where Matt goes to the Warriors. How is that? Did you apply some of your military experience to that?
Well, actually, my name, Bruce, means woodsman, actually. And I have been in the woods all my life, from Florida, forest, and working in the forest a bit. But I have always enjoyed the woods. And also, I've always enjoyed just going through what they call obstacle courses. And my buddies and I would climb from one tree to the other, doing dangerous things. Thank God my mom never found out about it, but we would do crazy things. And in the military, one of my units was the SPs, the security police. And so I would go out and do drills with those guys, you know, from climbing a rope over the wall, under logs, and jumping over stuff. It was a joy for me. It was work for them, but it was fun for me. So I was in the right place. And learning how to cope with dangers and learning how to plan ahead is so important. See, military people and first responders always run toward the war, toward the catastrophe. Then we are trained not to run away, but to run to. That's how lives are saved. If everybody was running away from it, a lot of people would die. But military people, as far as first responders, they are trained over and over and over again in order to get the job done. And that's why lives are saved. So a lot of that is in the book and in the first and second books. The first book is the beginning of that training period with Matt. And in the second book, of course, Coming Home, he goes through a lot of training with Jedediah, his mentor and sage, how he takes care of him, teaches him all type of wisdom and the proverbial way of doing things rather than some catastrophic method that he's picked up coming along. So he learns Proverbs and he learns how to govern his life according to some real integrity and honesty and love and compassion. So all that's in there. Of course, he learns a lot from Patience too, his bride. So.
Now, is there any characteristics of yourself in your characters?
Oh yeah, there are quite a few. I take my own experiences, like Vernae. I picture her as Patience in, you know, a lot of different ways, her characteristics. So I draw from her and Bruce, my other daughter, and some of the friends that I've experienced over the years. Actually, the integrity and a lot of other things, and a lot of the names that we came up with. Some of them belong to family members, some parishioners, some, you know, that we just snatch right out of the air.
Yeah, definitely, especially in Coming Home.
And when we were writing it first, I had some names in there. Vernae says, "Dad, this is not gonna work." I mean, these names are kind of like out there. So, so we changed a lot of the names around in order to fit the characters that we were trying to create.
And we have a comment right now. Somebody's already added it to her cart. Excited to read them. Just hearing the two of you and seeing the dynamic of your passion shine here. And she will definitely read those books.
Thank you.
Wonderful. That's great.
Thank you, Laura.
So, what did your family think when you first started writing the books together? When you came up with the idea to write the books together?
Oh, we did it behind their backs. No, not really. No, they thought it was fantastic. It was great because Vernae has been my sidekick, both Vernae and Bree. But Vernae, she's kind of the one that when I did workouts, exercises, dances, and that sort of thing, Vernae was right there. And so that's what she is. She does choreography, she dances, she acts, she does all of that. It's right up her alley. So when we start writing together, it wasn't really any news to anyone.
Yeah, I know, because I mean, ever since, Dad always read books to my sister and I, and and then I would just, when I was young, I would start writing. So I think it wasn't a big surprise to our family. They were just like, oh, okay, that's great. But, as time went on, I think they were like, wow, because not just our immediate family, but our extended family, like aunts and uncles, they bought the books and they're like, wow, this is really good, so.
they kind of pick up on some of the aha. I see grandma in that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Uncle Joe, whatever. So it's wonderful hearing them say, hey, I see some other things. You use that? I can't believe you used that in this book. Yeah, and we do. So we get a lot of comments from people, family, and we're just overjoyed and thrilled that people are enjoying it. It's so good to sit down and just read to your family. Now, one of my friends, he says, he said, I like it better when my wife reads to me because then I can enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Great.
Oh, okay.
So she reads to him, and he enjoys it. And then, but he has to do the review. So he's given some reviews about how he feels about the book, and we're just thankful for people like you,
Definitely,
Lisa,
yes.
who see and can appreciate what people are doing to enhance the lives of others, and that's what we want. So we're certainly going to keep you in our prayers. In your all the people that patronize your show.
Yeah. Definitely.
So again, it's great.
Has there ever been any hard feelings when somebody says, "Oh, you put that in the book? I can't believe you put that in the book"?
Can you repeat that?
I said, has there ever been like hard feelings where someone has said, "Oh, you put that in the book," or?
Oh, no hard
not
feelings.
at all.
They're just delighted that it's in there. And I don't put any real names in there so they don't know. I said, we want to protect the guilty or the innocent. So we're not going to put your names in there or identify who you are, but they thoroughly enjoy everybody. We haven't had one negative from anyone regarding our writing. And even if we did, we pray about matters and we just let it go and just pray for those people that God would just continue to bless them and bless our book and our writing, so that, because there are some hard truths that are in the book that could well be offensive to some people. That's not our intent. Our intent is to bring real truth to the lives of people, and how they handle that, that goes beyond our ability to control.
Yeah, do you see this series being made into a movie?
That would be fantastic if that happens. Hopefully one day that will happen.
Well, she's got big ideas, and her husband does too. I mean, they're in that they're in the entertainment world, so that's way beyond me.
Hopefully, yeah, one day it would be great. We've gotten some different people that it could be in a film, so it would be nice if we could do that.
Yeah. Do you have anybody play like Matt or Jebediah, the main characters?
It went out again in the beginning. We got the last part of it, but
I said, do you have any like famous people, like people in mind to play Jebediah or Matt or Patience?
That's hard because there's so many good actors out there. There's some that are amazing that have been in the game a long time, and there's some new and upcoming actors that are amazing as well. So I would really want to work with the casting directors on finding the right actor for those particular characters. So, I mean, once we get there, we'll be able to decide, but, right now we're just kind of focusing on trying to get all the books out there for everybody to read and enjoy.
So when's the timeline for the next book?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, it won't be 3 years. I can say that.
It won't be 3 years. We're actually starting writing the third book as we speak. So we're working on that. So hopefully we can get it out sooner than later. Yes.
She can't give a direct answer because we did that before and people were really bothered by it. So what? That's why the question was asked, is it going to be 6 years?
And I definitely don't think it's going to be that long.
No, it won't be.
Our whole goal is to make sure that anything that we put out, it's going to be the best product possible. So that they're not like, man, the first book and second book were good, but then, we want to make sure every single book has that TLC in it, tender love and care. We want to make sure we have that. So the audience can get involved and feel good about it, feel good about the product. And then they could recommend the books to other people,
Yeah,
Yeah, I would totally recommend it. I mean, the first one, and now I'm on the second one. And the second one, I didn't think I was going to like it, but I'm like, oh, I'm like turning the pages on it.
That's awesome.
So, how many edits did you go through for this, for Coming Home? Because you said it took you 3 years to write it. How many edits?
Gosh, to be honest, I don't even know. I mean, it was way more than that, Daddy. No, it was way more than 3 or 4. It was a lot because, like Dad was saying, there was an outline. And then from the outline, we decided, okay, there needs to be more meat. There needs to be more things added to it. So then we had to go back and forth trying to decide how we wanted to do the beginning of the book. And then, so there's just so many different moving parts too.
Okay. We should edit. I was thinking about the publisher and the editor, not us.
Oh, are you talking about our publisher? Or are you talking about you? Yes. It was a lot. It was our editor. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a lot. Yes. That's why it was a lot. But I mean, it was to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready for this thing to be done. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to push through, and I'm going to, we're going to push through. We're going to get it done because we want to make sure that this product is great for everybody. So,
So how did you balance working, your family, and writing the book?
Oh, how do we balance?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you want to answer that, Dad?
Well, I mean, I'm actually retired, and the jobs that I have they're just jobs that I really enjoy doing. That sort of thing. So I have my own time that I can take and write. Now, Vernae is a different story.
Yeah, I happen to have a calendar. I mean, I have to, and so that I designate specific times to be able to write, and then review it, and then write again, because the schedule gets so packed full of things. And so I work off of a timeline.
And she throws it over to me. So okay, Dad, I need this back by this
when
time.
we get it, okay, we need this time. Okay, yes. What's the date? Okay, great. Yeah.
So has it ever missed a deadline, or have you ever missed a deadline? With
Have we missed a deadline? Is that what you?
With each other, yes.
I mean, I guess.
Probably a couple, yeah.
But I mean, usually if that's the case, it's because something came up and we regroup and then we reschedule.
So what is it like working with your daughter?
Oh.
It is absolutely fabulous. I love her so much. She and her sister, they ask me sometimes about, okay, Dad, what do you want for birthday? What do you want for Christmas? What this, that. I said, all I need from you guys is your presence. When I see their smiling faces coming to my house or my present, it blesses me tremendously. So I have everything I need. And of course, my wonderful wife, Valerie, with those 3 women in my life. And now I have a son, so I'm a very happy person. But working with Vernae, she is just tremendous. And she is what I call a trigger puller. She can pull the trigger on you. When she has to get things done, buddy, it's like, okay, we need to make sure that this is done by here. And I'll make sure that I'm not stressing out over that. So I say, well, okay, I'm praying about this matter, and I'll get back with you.
Vernae, what's it like working with your dad?
Oh man, like I said earlier, he's like one of my best friends, and so it's fun. It's a great experience. He brings so much joy to the whole family, my mom, my sister, myself, and my husband, and he's just got so many ideas and wonderful stories, and he's just awesome. And it's funny because a lot of my friends call him Dad, so they're like, hey, Dad, hey. So he's just kind of like just an amazing father, and something that I feel that a lot of fathers should strive for. Number one, seeking the Lord in everything that you do. That's what my dad does, and he lives that out. And so I think that having that foundation and, the fruit of the Spirit and the love that he personifies. I mean, he shows that love to my mom all the time, and people can see that, and it trickles down to, everything that we do. So when we write these stories, I mean, it's coming from a place of peace and,
Yeah.
Now I gotta know, are you always, like you are right now, always as funny and humorous with each other?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She is, her mother calls Vernae our comic relief.
And I'll try to do it. It just like sometimes comes out, you gotta just live life, you gotta be yourself. And that's one thing, to you and to all the viewers, short story. I remember this one time I was speaking and I was so nervous. Sometimes, I get nervous with speaking, right? And I didn't do the best job. And so I called my dad and I was like crying and I was, and Dad gave me some good advice. He said, Vernae, all you have to do is be yourself. And so anything you do, you just be yourself, be who you are, and if some people don't like that, that's their prerogative, but you can't change who you are because of other people. You have to be yourself,
Mm-hmm.
So that's what he told me. And after that, I was like, okay. And then I started speaking and I was like so much better,
And have fun.
And I had fun. Yeah.
I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Tell everybody where they can find you at on social media.
Well, they can actually go on our Facebook. It's the Treasure Tree Book on Facebook. And then our Instagram is @_Treasure Tree Book. And also Twitter, it's the Treasure Tree Book on Twitter. Yeah. And they can also, if they want to purchase the books, they can go on Amazon and just put in Coming Home, Bruce and Vernae Ewing, or The Treasure Tree, which they actually need to read the first book. It looks like this, The Treasure Tree Book. Can they see it? Okay, there you go.
Yeah, you can see it.
First book. And they just put The Treasure Tree Book, and then they'll put Bruce and Vernae Ewing, and it will come right up. And then the second book, Coming Home, it looks like that. See how big it is? Yeah. Yeah, and so they just go on that. And then they can also go on our website, the treasuretreebook.com, and they can find more information about the authors, us, and then also any upcoming books that we're going to have. We'll make sure that we post that on there. It's also on social media, but they can go on our website as well.
So like when you purchase and finally release your new book, it'll be on social media. It'll be all across the board, right?
Yes, definitely.
Because after I finish this one, I'm going to be anxiously waiting for that next one.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, and when you guys read the book, please give us a review on Amazon. That really does help us and help us grow and get the word out more about these books.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming on today. And like I said, I love these books. I actually would recommend them, read them as families, especially if you're a homeschool parent right now.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Because, you have the devotionals there. You have a lot of characters. And like you said, 8 to 80 people of all ages can read it. So there's not many books that people of all ages can read. So it's a great family time reading aloud.
And also Christmas, right, Dad?
Great Christmas presents.
Yep, well, see, I already got mine. I got mine on Kindle already.
Melissa, you have been so wonderful. We're so delighted that you got us on your show. It has been such a joy talking with you.
Yes, I want to thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, guys. It's been a blast. So is there anything else before we wrap up that you want to share?
We just want to thank all of your viewers for taking the time out to listen to this interview, and we just hope that you are interested in getting the books.
Great.
All right, and guys, I actually put on the link on the post, the links to Coming Home and the Treasure Tree on the post, so they actually can just click on and go right over and purchase it on Amazon. So,
yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, you ever down in Louisiana, come on over and fix you some gumbo.
So is that where you guys are at in Louisiana? So I'm in North Carolina, so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we will see you guys on the next chat from the Blog Cabin. Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Blessings on you.